Begotten at birth, begotten at the baptism, begotten at the resurrection. Oh my! So many different types of begetting. So what is it, CHAT-GPT, prophet CHAT-GPT? When was Jesus declared to be the begotten Son? What is more likely that Psalm 2:7 signifies when God declares to Jesus, "You are my Son, today I have begotten you"? The birth, the resurrection, or the baptism? Psalm 2:7, which states, "You are my Son, today I have begotten you," has been interpreted in various ways within Christian theology. The three common interpretations relate to Jesus' birth, resurrection, and baptism. Okay. Number one, birth. Some see this verse as referring to the incarnation, emphasizing the divine sonship of Jesus from the moment of his birth. Well, I don't believe in incarnation. I don't believe God became a baby. Number two, resurrection. Many Christian theologians interpret this verse as relating to the resurrection, referring it as a declaration of Jesus' status as the Son of God, affirmed by his victory over death. Baptism. Others connect it to Jesus' baptism, where God publicly identifies Jesus as his Son, especially in the context of the events described in the Gospel. The interpretation of this verse can vary based upon theological perspective. However, the resurrection interpretation is often emphasized in the New Testament, particularly in the writings of Paul, Romans 1:4, and Hebrews 1:5, which suggest that the declaration of the sonship is linked to the resurrection of Jesus. Therefore, while all three interpretations are valid within different theological frameworks, the resurrection is commonly referred and viewed as the most significant context for the understanding of Psalm 2:7 in relation to Jesus. So this is what I would see. It's the resurrection. You know, when I heard people talking today about how they interpreted Acts 13, they kind of tried to squeeze this begetting in the middle of the death clauses, right? We're talking about him being put to death, people looking at him being taken down from a tree. And then in the middle, from Acts 13:28, when we're talking about the death, all the way to Acts 13:32, then in the middle in Acts 13:33, they're suggesting that Paul kind of breaks protocol and he goes with a baptism narrative or maybe a birth narrative. And then immediately after in Acts 13:34, Paul again picks up the death narrative. I just don't see this as viable. I see this as harmonious all the way through. And again, it's not kind of a crazy belief. It's actually the more dominant belief. It's more significant, and I think it makes more sense. You look at Hebrews 1, it talks about, when God exalted Jesus and made him higher than the angels. To which angel did God ever say, "You are my Son, today I've begotten you"? This is not the context of the baptism. This is the context of the glorification and exaltation of Jesus. So Paul brings this up again. He brings this up again in Hebrews 1 when they're talking about the sonship of Christ being made higher than the angels. Which angel did God ever say, "You are my Son, today I've begotten you"? I don't think this is a big deal about the baptism because, this is not the significance of this. Significance of this in Hebrews 1, I believe, it's talking about how Jesus was made higher than the angels and given a greater name than them. See, so to me, again, it's more definitive each time I look deeper into it that is absolutely the resurrection.
Are you trying to give me another riddle? No, no more riddles.
Common sense Christianity.